First, something unusual happened in a residential area in Tianjin, China, a bustling metropolitan city. The streets in this area suddenly rose and cracked. These cracks extended not only to the sidewalks but also appeared on the lawn. The streets in the neighborhood now had uneven surfaces, with some ground cracks several dozen centimeters wide. Even some underground parking lots had cracks in the walls, causing water seepage. This residential community was built by Country Garden, a well-known Chinese real estate company. The incident affected more than 10 residential towers, all of which experienced ground cracks and sinking. Residents were terrified and chose to sleep outdoors on the lawns or in the streets. In less than 24 hours, the cracks in the ground worsened, as did the cracks on the walls. Elevators started experiencing electrical leaks, and some residents had to evacuate overnight with their families. Special police were present in the community, but their actions seemed more focused on maintaining order than providing explanations to the concerned residents. You gotta give us an explanation. It's not enough just filming us. Can you tell us where we can crash tonight? Hey, officers, can you ensure the safety of our stuff and our lives? Seriously, whoever talks gets filmed, but you're not addressing our concerns properly. So far, your response has been all about fixing surface issues, but is that really enough? Our safety matters too, and it seems like you couldn't care less whether we live or die. By June 2nd, more than 2,900 residents were evacuated in an emergency. Some were relocated to nearby hotels, while many went back and forth to their homes to move their belongings. Residents noticed that the condition of the buildings deteriorated each time they returned, with doors even opening automatically due to the tilting of the structures. This incident led to great distress among homeowners. They had invested their savings and emotions into their homes, and the uncertainty of whether they could return was deeply saddening. The cause of this sudden phenomenon remained unclear, but there were speculations about geothermal drilling nearby which may have caused groundwater shifts and contributed to the ground instability. Official experts were still investigating, but residents felt that their safety and property had been jeopardized. The affected buildings were fenced off on June 3rd, with no one allowed to enter. Residents were only permitted to access their homes briefly to retrieve valuables. The situation remained uncertain, leaving homeowners worried about the future of their residences. This unexpected and frightening incident left nearly 3,000 residents facing an uncertain and confusing future, wondering if they would ever be able to return to their homes. You'd think this was some third world country in China or something. It's beyond belief, roads just collapsing out of nowhere. It's not just about the roads, though. What's really mind-boggling is that people are strolling along and suddenly they're plunging into sewage pits. Look at the number of onlookers. It's pretty darn incredible. Now, if you were out of there in a heartbeat, the stench must have been unbearable. But these folks, they're pulling together, helping each other out, getting people back on their feet. Thankfully, no one got seriously hurt, but here's the thing. When you take a closer look, this isn't just happening in Chongqing. We're talking about the whole country, China. Shoddy construction projects are popping up all over the place. And let us tell you about the roads in Luoyang. Cars cruising along and then bam, a hole appears. This incident went down on June 21st and a white car literally nosedived into this gaping pit, landing upside down. 2 people managed to crawl out of that car thanks to some good Samaritans. They're saying this construction work is just plain awful. No earthquakes, no strong winds, no rain, but somehow vehicles end up diving into a pit. So, what's the deal? It seems like all this massive infrastructure development in China, it's, well, shaky to put it mildly. And it's not just the roads. Even the sidewalks have holes that are swallowing people up. There are too many incidents just falling through the ground like it's nobody's business. And it's not isolated. It's a nationwide issue. We can look at those sidewalks. They're basically traps, and people are falling right into them. Some are even disappearing into the road itself. Now, let's talk about the construction quality. Incident 1. The Chongqing Sinkhole. One glaring example of the severity of tofu constructions is a massive sinkhole in Chongqing that resembles a scene from a disaster movie. This sinkhole, indicative of the issue's extent, serves as a visual reminder of the dangers posed by subpar construction practices. It is imperative to note that this incident is not unique to Chongqing but reflects a larger nationwide concern. Incident 2. Jiangsu's Glasses Shop Catastrophe. Another harrowing incident took place in Jiangsu, Lianyan Gang, at a glasses shop. Two individuals were engaged in casual conversation when suddenly a man fell through the second floor, his leg dangling precariously. This shocking incident underscores the unpredictable nature of tofu construction, leaving citizens in a state of fear and disbelief. People rightfully question building management's responsibility, as such incidents compromise the safety and well-being of those who frequent such establishments. Widespread structural degradation. The repercussions of tofu constructions extend beyond singular incidents and encompass entire buildings. Numerous structures across the country exhibit alarming signs of decay and instability, including tilting and crumbling. Importantly, this deterioration is not a result of inherent instability, but rather a consequence of shoddy construction practices that compromise structural integrity. Inadequate materials and workmanship. The quality of construction materials and workmanship has deteriorated to an alarming degree. In one notable instance, an individual was captured on video bending steel bars with their bare hands, highlighting the extreme vulnerability of these structures due to subpar materials and construction techniques. This vulnerability endangers the lives of occupants and passersby alike. In addition, a few months ago, the State Council of China finally discussed and approved the investigative report on a particularly devastating building collapse. It's worth noting that this official announcement came more than a year after the tragic incident. According to the official report, released on May 21, 2023, a total of 63 individuals were trapped under the rubble during this catastrophe. This included 50 university students, 11 businessmen, along with other people, and 2 homeowners with their families. Tragically, 54 people lost their lives in this tragedy, with a significant number of them being university students, totaling 44. The report provides a grim timeline of events, stating that the building's collapse occurred in just 4 seconds at 12:21 a.m. On April 29, 2022. It all began when the eastern wall of the second-floor restaurant emitted an unusual sound, causing objects to fall from the ceiling. Just 3 minutes later, at 12:24 a.m., the entire structure collapsed vertically, taking only 4 seconds to complete its destruction. The investigation revealed that the main cause of this catastrophic collapse was the property owner's illegal modifications to the building. They had added extra stories and floors to expand it for rental purposes. Shockingly, local government authorities turned a blind eye to these violations. In the initial aftermath of the collapse in 2022, the communist government had claimed that 23 people were trapped inside, with 5 being rescued and 39 still missing. Now that the official report is public, it has ignited widespread online discussions. Many are deeply saddened by the loss of 44 university students and are questioning how a university dormitory could become such a dangerous building. They reflect on the fact that many of today's college students are the only children in their families, who have strived hard to get into college but lose their lives tragically. Parents who have invested so much hope and effort into their children's education are left wondering how to carry on. Another point of contention is the considerable delay in releasing the investigation results and assigning accountability. Despite the severity of the accident, it took a full year for officials to make the findings public. As for accountability, 4 senior officials at the provincial or ministerial level, as well as 58 public officials at various levels connected to the incident, faced disciplinary actions. The most severe penalties imposed were party warnings and political demerits, effectively meaning no real consequences. This incident highlights a widespread issue in China, where officials within the CCP often protect one another and engage in corrupt practices involving power and money. This culture of impunity for those in positions of authority has resulted in frequent cases of substandard and dangerous construction projects across the country, earning them the moniker tofu projects. Now, let's talk about a situation in Guizhou, China. Guizhou is known for its tough economic conditions. In the past, a tragic incident occurred when homeless children sought shelter in a dumpster during extreme cold, resulting in accidental death. In response, the government invested a substantial amount of money, 90 million yuan, approximately 450 million Taiwan dollar, to construct 4 large buildings, including an opera house, museum, concert hall, and science museum. However, a recent incident unfolded in the newly constructed opera house shortly after its completion. This incident happened during a May Day event. The stage, which was designed with a hydraulic system for elevation, malfunctioned, causing the entire stage to drop abruptly. Initially, some spectators believed it was part of the performance, but when they heard screams, it became evident that something was seriously amiss. An investigation revealed that the stage's primary support was constructed using wood, which proved insufficient. This significant investment in the opera house was marred by subpar construction practices, notably the use of wood as the primary support for the stage. Additionally, in Guizhou, there have been concerns regarding utility poles. Historically, these poles were made of wood and had a single central support. Later on, they transitioned to using reinforced concrete, often containing at least one steel rod for added strength. However, during a heavy snowstorm, it became apparent that these poles weren't as sturdy as they should have been. This event report sheds light on a concerning incident related to construction practices and infrastructure quality in mainland China, as revealed in the latest reports from Tofu Projects via the EBCC Time Channel in Hong Kong. The incident in question raises significant questions about the safety, durability, and reliability of public infrastructure projects in the region. Upon close examination of the incident, several disconcerting findings emerged. Utility pole breakage. The incident primarily involves the unexpected breakage of a utility pole. The pole snapped and became lodged in its position. This raised questions about the construction quality and safety standards employed in its creation. Improper reinforcement. It was discovered that rather than employing standard steel reinforcements, wires had been used in the middle of the utility pole. Shockingly, upon inspection, it was apparent that there was no steel reinforcement within the pole, only plain cement. This lack of structural integrity posed serious concerns about the pole's ability to support its load. Substandard construction. The utility pole was entirely composed of cement, with only 2 decorative wires on one side. This composition, lacking steel reinforcement, was considered a grave safety hazard. Community concerns. Local residents expressed justified anger and frustration over the subpar construction quality. They likened the situation to working with clay, emphasizing the poor workmanship involved in twisting 2 wires and leaving it in such a condition. Quality of roads. Additionally, residents also voiced their dissatisfaction with the quality of roads in Taiwan, raising broader concerns about infrastructure standards. Public reaction. This incident has triggered a significant public outcry, drawing parallels to past incidents of shoddy construction, such as the 1998 Wen-Trun earthquake, which resulted in injuries and fatalities due to inferior construction work. While many were implicated and some faced legal consequences for their actions at that time, the incident underscores that issues of substandard construction persist. Construction materials. One of the most shocking discoveries during the investigation was the use of reed stalks instead of steel reinforcement within the utility pole. Reed stalks were identified as the primary support structure. This departure from conventional construction practices is a matter of grave concern and is considered a serious deviation from safety standards. Premier's warning. The incident brings to mind the warning issued by Premier Zhu Rongji in September 1998 when he witnessed the Yangtze River levee's destruction due to floods, labeling it as the result of using bean-curd dredging. It is worth noting that the Yangtze River dike had to be repaired by the People's Liberation Army to avert a disaster. China's speed and rapid development. The incident further highlights the phenomenon known as China's speed, where there is a relentless push for rapid and innovative development. While this approach has led to the rapid transformation of cities, it has also raised concerns about the prioritization of speed over construction, quality, and safety. In another case, A high-rise building meant to connect Shanghai to Kunming via a high-speed highway collapsed during construction. Even though it was supposed to meet strict engineering standards, this kind of poor construction, often referred to as tofu dreg projects, is unfortunately not uncommon in China. Besides, there was a tornado in Jiangsu, China, which was highly unusual for the region. It caused significant destruction and casualties, including the collapse of buildings and severe damage to infrastructures. In addition to these incidents in China, there have been reports of Chinese-built projects failing in other countries, particularly in Africa. This has led to a reputation for substandard construction quality associated with Chinese projects abroad. The alarming rise of tofu construction in China poses a significant threat to public safety and the integrity of the built environment. These incidents are not isolated occurrences, but are indicative of a broader problem that permeates construction projects throughout the country. Urgent action is required at various levels, including regulatory authorities, construction companies, and building management, to address this crisis. Public safety must take precedence, and stringent measures should be implemented to enforce construction quality standards, ensuring that buildings are structurally sound and pose no unnecessary risks to the lives of citizens. It is imperative that these issues be confronted comprehensively to prevent further disasters and protect the well-being of the Chinese population.
The Three Gorges Dam, a man-made catastrophe, causes China's apocalypse. Since the onset of the Industrial Revolution, human technology has rapidly advanced, making life more convenient. However, it must be acknowledged that the forces of nature remain incredibly powerful, and we cannot change nature itself. Instead, we can only strive to understand and utilize some of its principles for the benefit of humanity. Flood is a particularly terrifying natural disaster. Since the founding of the People's Republic of China, numerous hydraulic facilities have been constructed to combat the threat of floods. Despite these efforts, there are still unfortunate events that we would rather not witness. For example, the 1975 Zhumadian Reservoir Dam failure resulted in significant losses for the local population. When it comes to great dams, the Three Gorges Dam is one of the greatest structures in China. In recent months, the upstream region of the Three Gorges, specifically Chongqing, has been confronted with persistent torrential rain, leading to a rapid surge in river water levels and posing risks of embankment breaches. The heavy rainfall has triggered flash floods, landslides, and mudslides, inflicting substantial damage to local residential areas. Notably, Wantrof District, situated within the Three Gorges Reservoir area, has borne the brunt of these calamitous events. Paradoxically, the construction of the Three Gorges Dam by the Chinese Communist Party was originally intended to alleviate the impact of torrential rains in this region. Nevertheless, the dam has failed to fulfill its disaster mitigation role and, rather, has exacerbated the effects of the heavy downpours. On July 14th, the Chongqing Meteorological Bureau reported heavy rainfall at 108 rain gauge stations and torrential rain at 395 stations, with Wantrof District experiencing the highest recorded rainfall at 219 millimeters. Over 2,600 residents were evacuated in the early hours of July 14th. The Yangtze River Maritime Affairs Bureau revealed information indicating that a total of 202 potential geohazard points that could jeopardize Yangtze River navigation were identified in the Three Gorges Reservoir area. These hazards include dangerous rock masses, landslides, reservoir bank deterioration, and collapsing slide masses. Notably, Wantrof District has experienced its second flooding event in a span of just 12 days. Earlier, Chongqing was also severely affected by heavy rainfall on the 3rd and 4th of this month, with Jiangtan Town in Guangzhou District recording the heaviest rainfall since 1956. According to Dr. Wang Weiluo, a distinguished expert in environmental ecology and hydraulic engineering, the flood disaster in Wantrof District can be considered a man-made catastrophe. Wantrof District is situated within China's Three Gorges Reservoir area, and the flooding in this region is directly linked to the existence of the Three Gorges Dam. The impoundment of the dam has resulted in an elevation of the water level of the Yangtze River. Consequently, the current river water level in Wantrof District stands at 80 to 143 meters higher than historical levels before the dam's construction. This significant rise in water level has undoubtedly impacted the stability of the reservoir banks, particularly during the flood season when water level regulation experiences fluctuations. The changing underground water conditions of the reservoir banks have also increased the likelihood of landslides. In other words, the water impoundment of the Three Gorges Dam has altered the natural conditions of the area, leading to an increased probability of natural disasters like landslides. Furthermore, urban development and real estate expansion have intensified the competition for land along rivers, resulting in the construction of numerous waterside properties that significantly narrow river channels. As a consequence, the limited space for water flow leads to immediate flooding during heavy rainfall. Dr. Wang Wailuo believes that if this trajectory continues, significant problems may arise. Since the construction of the Three Gorges project, the Chinese Communist Party has heavily suppressed any criticism or doubts regarding the project. The report on geohazards on July 14th in the Three Gorges reservoir area indicates an extremely severe situation following the impoundment of the dam in June 2003. The Three Gorges reservoir, formed upstream of the dam, stretches approximately 600 kilometers in length and up 2 kilometers in width, submerging 129 towns over an area of 10,000 square kilometers. Since the impoundment, the Three Gorges Dam has caused numerous geohazards in a vast area along the Yangtze River and its tributaries, spanning from Chongqing to Yichang in the first 11 months. In this period, a total of 4,688 collapses and landslides were recorded in the entire reservoir area. This striking number nearly doubled from 2,490 to 4,688 within a span of just 2 years. Fan Shao, chief engineer of the Regional Geological Survey Team of the Sichuan Geological and Mineral Bureau, has personally witnessed large-scale landslides occurring multiple times in the Three Gorges reservoir area. He conveyed to reporters that every time the Three Gorges reservoir is filled, there is a heightened occurrence period of geological hazards, typically happening from September to November, when the water level begins to rise. Conversely, from February to May of the following year, water is discharged from the reservoir. The year 2008 provides a notable example when the Three Gorges Dam attempted to reach the 175-meter water level, during which the Chongqing Geological Environmental Monitoring Station recorded over 100 newly occurring geological hazards. The prospect of the Three Gorges reservoir reaching the 175-meter water level raises concern over significant fluctuations in the water level of the Yangtze River. This situation would undoubtedly impact the stability of the reservoir banks and potentially introduce collapses along the river, especially during the flood season when there are adjustments in the reservoir water level. A drop of about 30 meters in the water level would occur, accompanied by rapid changes in the underground water conditions of the reservoir banks, further increasing the likelihood of landslides occurring. Investigations commissioned by the Land and Resources Department of Chongqing revealed that there are over 5,000 geological hazard sites in the reservoir area of the Chongqing section. Due to limited resources and funding, local governments can only focus on managing the larger hazard sites, leaving others unattended. According to Yan Yuping, chief scientist at the Geological Hazard Technical Guidance Center of the Ministry of Natural Resources of China, as of May 25, 2022, a total of 7,400 geological hazard points had been identified in the Three Gorges reservoir area. An earlier report in 2010 by Tan Chiwei, former deputy mayor of Chongqing, stated that there were over 10,000 potentially dangerous collapse and landslide points in the reservoir area of the Chongqing section. These findings underscore the importance of addressing and managing geological hazards in the Three Gorges reservoir area to mitigate potential risks and protect local communities and infrastructure. Based on this information, Wang Wailuo inferred that the number of geological hazard points in the Three Gorges reservoir area is likely to increase in the future, exacerbating the severity of the problem. The lack of attention to geological hazards during the feasibility study of the Three Gorges project can be attributed to the historical context at that time. The construction of the Three Gorges project had a long history. In 1958, the Central Committee of the CCP approved the project, but due to economic policy mistakes, it was shelved. It was not until 1984 that the CCP State Council gave preliminary approval for the project to proceed. A feasibility study for the project was proposed in 1986. However, there were significant opposition and dissenting voices, particularly concerning the complex geological conditions in the reservoir area, which had a large number of potential landslides and collapses. Opponents argued that the impoundment of the reservoir would weaken the stability of the reservoir banks and could reactivate old landslides. They also raised concerns about the potential occurrence of heavy rain, reservoir-induced seismic activity, and large-scale landslides, posing a significant threat to the ecological environment and the safety of residents' lives and properties in the reservoir area. Many of these opposing opinions were documented in the book The Yangtze River, edited by Dai Tiang and published in February 1989. However, under pressure from dissenting voices, Vice Premier Yao Yilin, a member of the CCP Central Committee, announced in April 1989, just 2 months before the Tiananmen Square massacre, that the Three Gorges project would not proceed within the next 5 years, and there was no need for further debate on the matter. Following the Tiananmen Square massacre, the book The Yangtze River was suppressed and censored due to its association with dissent and unrest. Despite the commitment made by CCP not to discuss the Three Gorges project for 5 years, Jiang Zemin violated this commitment during his first domestic inspection tour. He visited the site of the Three Gorges Dam and publicly expressed support for its construction, leading to the eventual approval and continuation of the project. Frequent geological disasters in the Three Gorges reservoir area are attributed to the deterioration of the reservoir banks. The implementation of the clearing and flushing operation plan results in annual water level fluctuations, causing alternating wetting and drying of the rock and soil in the drawdown zone, leading to deterioration damage. Joint fractures in the karst banks combined with periodic water level changes accelerate the deformation and deterioration process, triggering landslides and collapses, posing a significant threat to the ecological environment and the safety of residents' lives and properties in the reservoir area. Geological engineers have suggested immediate engineering measures to reinforce the deteriorated rock masses using steel rods, steel cables, and cement, with an estimated cost of around 5 million yen per 100 meters if measures are taken early. If the remediation of the deteriorated rock masses in the reservoir area is delayed, the cost is estimated to increase to around 10 million yen per 100 meters. Failure to address the issue could lead to catastrophic events, such as river blockage, resulting in even greater losses. So far, the exact amount of capital invested in geological disaster prevention and control in the reservoir area has not been accurately disclosed. According to reports in 2003, before the start of reservoir impoundment, an investment of 17 billion yen had already been made. In May 2011, the State Council approved the Three Gorges follow-up work plan, which aimed to include more effective management of geological disasters related to the Three Gorges project. Media reports indicate that the total investment for the follow-up work plan amounted to a staggering 123.8 billion yen. The public continued to contribute to the Three Gorges Construction Fund for the follow-up work under a different name, the National Major Water Conservancy Project Construction Fund. Originally, the collection of the fund was supposed to end on December 31, 2019. However, based on a suggestion by a member of the National People's Congress, the collection of this fund was extended until 2025. In 2023, another member of the National People's Congress proposed yet another extension of the fund collection to support the follow-up work of the Three Gorges project. Many people question why the academicians and experts did not disclose the truths to the general public before the construction of the Three Gorges project. If Liu Guanggrun had revealed that there were 2490 instances of landslides and collapses in the reservoir area, it is doubtful that the project would have been implemented. It is believed that these experts chose to conceal the truth to ensure the project's approval, which eventually led them to become academicians and obtain fortune. Raise concerns about the credibility and moral integrity of so-called experts under the rule of the CCP. They are often seen as acting in accordance with the authorities' interests, using their expert status and reputation to deceive the people while maximizing their own benefits. Consequently, true experts with a moral bottom line are perceived to be lacking in China. Since 1950, the Chinese Communist Party has constructed over 22,000 dams with heights exceeding 15 meters, representing approximately 50 of the world's total. Since 1990, despite numerous protests from environmental activists regarding the damage dams cause to the natural environment, tens of millions of dams of various types have been erected across mainland China's river systems. It is widely known that the Three Gorges Dam project, initiated during Jiang Zemin's leadership, has been plagued with numerous hazards. Recently, both Chinese and foreign hydraulic experts have expressed concerns, asserting that dams are endangering China. According to a report in the China Youth Daily, over the past 50 years, around 16 million people have been displaced due to hydroelectric stations, with 10 million of them living in poverty. Each time a new dam project is approved, not only do the habitats of living organisms suffer, but the homes of people are also shattered. They receive inadequate compensation and job training, leading to a life of constant migration and labor to survive. For instance, the construction of the Three Gorges Dam submerged 13 cities, 140 towns, and 1350 villages, forcing 1.4 million people to relocate. The growing discontent among these affected people may lead to mass unrest. Before the commencement of the Three Gorges project, the Chinese People's Congress faced the highest number of opposing and abstaining votes in its history, with the approval votes narrowly outnumbering the opposition. According to records on Wikipedia, the Chinese State Council submitted the proposal for the construction of the Three Gorges project to the National People's Congress in 1992. Which was widely questioned as an intentional effort by Jiang Zemin and others to push the project through as an ironclad case. How severe is the sediment accumulation in the Three Gorges Reservoir area? As we all know, the Three Gorges Dam is located in Xi'an, Hubei Province, China, at the boundary between the middle and upper reaches of the Yangtze River. The upper reaches of the Yangtze River have a large drop in terrain and abundant water, naturally carrying a large amount of sediment and gravel into the middle and lower reaches. Moreover, when sediment flows into the Three Gorges Dam, the water surface here is very wide, providing great convenience for sediment accumulation and retention. The Chinese government is willing to sacrifice its people for economic gains, focusing solely on the dam's function of water storage and electricity generation while disregarding the corresponding hazards such as river blockage, increased earthquake risks, destruction of precious natural environments, and displacement of millions of people. The embankment is a crucial component of a high-speed railway line, and its stability directly impacts the quality of the track, the normal operation of trains, and safety. Recently, Henan Sanjie Industrial Company Limited, referred to as Sanjie Company, a subcontractor for the third section of the Shandong-Lai-Rong High-Speed Railway, reported that the main contractor, China Construction 8th Engineering Division Company Limited, was suspected of using subpar materials and cutting corners. This led to quality issues in the construction of threaded piles in some sections of the Lai-Rong High-Speed Railway embankment, with most of the threaded piles failing to meet the design requirements, posing significant safety hazards, based on the identification by Sanjie Company's responsible person on site. And with the cooperation of professionals, the Economic Reference News reporter conducted an extensive investigation. This investigation involved reviewing geological survey maps, construction design drawings, subcontracted engineering quantity confirmation forms, concrete usage settlement documents related to the Lai-Rong high-speed railway embankment sections, and combining actual concrete usage to estimate physical engineering quantities. The results of this investigation largely align with the allegations made by the whistleblower. Additionally, other labor subcontractors responsible for sections in the third section of the Lai-Rong high-speed railway have also reported similar problems during pile driving operations in the embankment sections. The Lai-Rong high-speed railway is a major project in Shandong Province with a total length of 193 kilometers, connecting Qingdao's Lai in the west to Rongkeng in Weihai in the east. The project has a total investment of 29.7 billion RMB and is designed for a maximum operating speed of 350 kilometers per hour. Construction began in November 2020, with an expected opening for operation by the end of October 2023. The construction of the third section of this high-speed railway is contracted to China Construction, 8th Engineering Division, and Xi'an Company is one of the labor subcontractors responsible for certain embankment sections. Xi'an, the head of Xi'an Company, revealed to the reporter that in their work on an embankment section of the Liaorong high-speed railway with a design pile length of 14.5 meters, or 15.5 meters, the construction of threaded piles did not follow the design, with most of the constructed piles measuring between 10 meters and 13 meters. Over 90 of the threaded piles did not reach the design length. In the construction of the railway's South High Station embankment section, most of the threaded piles also did not meet the design pile length. According to experts in the field, the construction process for threaded piles involves drilling holes to the required depth according to the design, then stopping and finally pumping and pouring concrete. Several individuals who had been involved in on-site construction emphasized that having actual pile length shorter than the design allows for a significant reduction in concrete usage, resulting in substantial cost savings for the main contractor, China Construction 8th Engineering Division. Furthermore, experts explained that pile length is a crucial parameter in project design. If the designed length is not met, it is generally difficult to ensure that the pile can carry the required load, compromising the quality of subsequent construction. Based on the concrete usage data for threaded pile construction provided by Xi'an Company in the aforementioned two sections, the reporter and industry experts calculated that the actual pile length had generally significantly fallen short, with an average length of about 20 less than the design pile length. Workers involved in the pile driving construction of other embankment sections of the third section of the Liaorong high-speed railway also informed the reporter that more than half of the threaded piles in their sections did not meet the design pile length, and some actual pile lengths were even less than 50 of the design pile length. Regarding the reported problem, Louis G., supervisor of Shandong Liaorong High-Speed Railway Company Limited, stated on July 17 that the mentioned embankment section of the Liaorong high-speed railway had not undergone any design changes that would justify deviations from the design pile length. The regulations on quality management of construction projects, State Council Decree No. 279 stipulate in Article 28 that construction units must carry out construction according to engineering design drawings and construction technical standards, and unauthorized modifications to engineering designs or shoddy work are strictly prohibited. Xi'an Company believes that as the main contractor and organizer of the third section of the project, China Construction 8th Engineering Division is the core and key entity responsible for project quality control. They should have played a leading role in preventing shoddy work during construction, but instead they have lost control over the quality control of the embankment pile construction in this section. Participants in the pile foundation construction of the third section of the Liaorong high-speed railway expressed that at the beginning of the drilling process, when the depth had not reached the design requirements, and when faced with hard geological conditions, they reported the situation to the on-site personnel of China Construction 8th Engineering Division. However, these personnel ignored their concerns and instructed construction workers to pour concrete into the piles even when the pile length did not meet the design depth. Zhu Qi, responsible for on-site construction at Xi'an Company, revealed to Economic Reference News that pile driving operations should start according to the design drawings and specifications, and unless there are design changes agreed upon by the design unit and the construction unit, changes should not be made arbitrarily during construction. Under normal circumstances, labor subcontractors are only responsible for drilling pile holes, and the scheduling and command of concrete delivery and usage are the responsibility of the on-site personnel of the main contracting party. Typically, after pile driving reaches the design depth, it must be confirmed as qualified by the on-site personnel and on-site supervisors of the main contractor before concrete can be poured. Piles that do not meet the design requirements in terms of length are strictly prohibited from proceeding to the next stage of construction. Zhu stated that these rules became mere empty words in Sanji Company's section of threaded pile construction in the aforementioned two sections. Several individuals who had been involved in the pile foundation construction of the third section of the Lirong high-speed railway, and who reported similar issues during pile driving operations in embankment sections, expressed that if pile lengths fall significantly short of the design, they might not fulfill their purpose of transferring load to the deep layers of the foundation soil and reducing post-construction settlement. This could lead to a loss of foundation stability, permanent damage, and safety hazards, posing a threat to train operations. Regarding the reported issues raised by Sanji Company, the reporter tried to contact the then project manager of the third section of the Lirong high-speed railway, Party Guachao from China Construction 8th Engineering Division. However, he mentioned that he was attending training and did not have time to communicate with the reporter. The response from China Construction 8th Engineering Division is profoundly disappointing. If a corporation is indifferent to such a critical safety concern, what do they consider more important or worthy of attention? If these companies continue construction, how will responsibility be determined in the event of an accident? Can other organizations or government departments assume this responsibility? Fortunately, the Shanghai Railway Administration has dispatched personnel to investigate the situation in Shandong. Now we can only await the results of the investigation and hope that the relevant authorities take this matter seriously, implementing effective measures to address this safety issue. After all, we cannot allow safety concerns to spiral out of control due to the indulgence and apathy of some individuals, nor can we allow the 29.7 billion RMB invested in the Lirong high-speed railway to become a source of disaster. The mechanisms of societal oversight need to be considered to talk about. How could China Construction 8th Engineering Division handle safety concerns with such audacity? Are there regulatory loopholes enabling such companies to evade punishment? If the safety of construction projects cannot be guaranteed, it jeopardizes not only our interests but also our lives. We don't know if relevant authorities will conduct an in-depth investigation into this incident and take appropriate measures to strengthen supervision at construction sites, ensuring that safety issues are effectively resolved. The term substandard construction projects refers to those construction projects that cut corners and use inferior materials, making them unable to withstand the test of time and susceptible to collapse at any moment. There have been news reports of such incidents, including the Yangmingtan Bridge, which cost 18 billion yuan in China. This bridge collapsed less than a year after opening, with the reinforced concrete turning into tofu residue. 4 trucks crossed the bridge, leading to its collapse, casualties, and a devastating scene. Incidents like this, where bridges collapse, have been alarmingly frequent, and investigating the reasons behind them is indeed disheartening. The construction materials of highway bridges, railways, or subways fall under the government's management of public utilities. In other words, such projects have significant connections with the government. Furthermore, the core of construction projects lies with the construction company. The cooperation between these two factors determines the reliability of construction projects. There are 3 main reasons behind substandard construction projects. Construction companies may employ personnel who do not meet the required qualifications and rely on external connections. This environment has given rise to various intermediary companies that operate by providing qualifications, certifications, and resource upgrades. If technical personnel do not possess the necessary qualifications but undertake projects with those qualifications, it is easy to encounter quality problems. Some government officials misuse their powers, collude internally and externally, and interfere in construction projects for personal gain, sometimes constructing bridges where they are not needed. Weak oversight and lax supervision contribute to substandard construction projects. Some organizations lack robust construction supervision mechanisms, and quality inspections often become formalities rather than substantial checks. Inadequate management and lenient punishment further exacerbate the problem. A lack of strict penalties for officials involved in quality issues allows for misconduct and even collusion, acting as a shield for corruption in construction projects. If collusion between government officials and businesses for personal gain persists, the root issue may remain unresolved. In the construction, the pillars are extremely fragile like crumbling cookies and have multiple flaws resembling a tofu-like quality.
条啊，拢才起来尔，条啊都已经遇到这个像豆腐沙了。说实在的，这个以后要承载2楼的重量的话，这个地震来一定垮。小瑕疵没有关系啊。后来这边的拆起来，板模拍起来，哇，这么多的漏洞啊！我说那这样不行了，不能再补了。
On December 1, 2017, a ground collapse occurred in the construction area of Xi'an Station on Guangzhou Metro Line 11. This incident resulted in the fall of one sewage cleaning vehicle, one electric bicycle, and their occupants into the pit, leading to the tragic deaths of 3 individuals on May 18, 2020. The Guangzhou Municipal Emergency Management Bureau released the investigation report on the 12.1 major collapse accident at Xi'an Station, Guangzhou Metro Line 11, conducted by China Railway 5th Group 4th Company. The investigation determined that the collapse accident was a major responsibility accident caused by complex geological conditions encountered during underground construction. Subways in China are also experiencing mixed financial success. While major cities like Beijing and Shenzhen are profitable, many smaller cities struggle to make their subway systems financially viable. The rapid urbanization and modernization drive in China have led to extensive subway construction. But the cost of building and maintaining these systems is high. We will report the news in the upcoming video on how do subways make money. What's the truth behind it?
August 14th. The Minjiang Bridge under construction in Duyang, Sichuan province suddenly collapsed, crushing construction workers. Officials said 1 person was killed in the accident, 1 was hospitalized with injuries, and 1 person who was trapped has now been rescued. However, insiders say it differently. They revealed that this project was to be completed in time for the World Clean Energy Conference to be held in Duyang at the end of the month, and it was a project to boost the reputation of the local government. Netizens denounced that there was another tofu drag project. Several videos from the internet show that during the construction process of a pedestrian bridge on the east side of the Minjiang Road Bridge, an entire section of the bridge deck suddenly rolled over and smashed straight to the ground, and an excavator was knocked over. There are suspects that some workers were also buried. Witnesses also said that there were 2 loud noises at the construction site. The first sound was the sound of a section of the bridge breaking away, and the second sound was the sound of it hitting the ground. The collapsed section was about 48 meters long. At around 9:40, the site was completely sealed off. The blockade covers the entire intersection of the southern section of Aimei Road and East Minjiang Road, and the Minjiang Road Bridge is temporarily closed. A green fence was also put up on the periphery of the blockade site, and the internal situation cannot be seen. There are different opinions about the reasons for the collapse. One citizen said this collapse is due to a very tight schedule. It was originally planned to be completed by the end of July, but it has not been completed yet. Some netizens also pointed out on Weibo that the site of the accident is a key project of the 3rd Local City Construction Bureau, and all the Duyang citizens knew there would be a meeting here. At present, all the municipal projects are in a hurry, and the energy venue is being built 24 hours a day. On such a hot day, the workers are really suffering, and now the bridges that have not been completed suddenly collapsed. Now the injured workers are really miserable. Anyway, the project leader, construction contractor, the supervision party, and on-site safety officers, none of them can escape. One citizen nearby called Miss Lee reported that at 11 o'clock the previous night, workers were still seen building and dismantling 2 pillars under the bridge. There were originally 4 pillars. It seems that the middle 2 were taken out as they were dismantled last night. I didn't expect it to collapse this morning. Mr. Wong said there were originally 2 steel pillars under the bridge deck with a diameter of more than 20 centimeters, which were recently demolished. This morning, workers were standing on a lift to weld the bridge deck and piers. Normally, It should be welded and fixed first, and then the pillars should be removed, but now the bridge deck is simply just placed on the piers. Mr. Wong said that some people speculated that the reason for the collapse of the bridge deck was due to the improper operation of the red lift. This thing is oil burning, and the hydraulic arm is also very powerful. It's on the bridge deck is not fixed. It is very likely that the red lift touched the bridge deck from the bottom while rising and caused the bridge deck to lose its balance and hit the ground. It was also analyzed that the bridge had design flaws. The pedestrian overpass that spans the east end of the Minjiang Bridge is a steel box girder. The bridge under construction is a curved section, which is a complete curvature without pure support in the middle. It can be seen from the pictures at the scene that there are no blocks on the concrete piers and V-shaped piers of the overpass, and the piers are not obviously damaged. Secondly, the bridge between the two piers has a curve, and the outer diameter of the curve is located on the side of the Minyuan River. Due to the prominent bending on the outside of the curve, the weight of the curved beam on the riverside is greater than that of the non-river side, and the curved beam has an eccentricity problem. As a result, the piers at the junction are not uniformly stressed and prone to incline, causing the bridge deck to dislocate. As for the number of casualties caused by the accident, the public also has a different opinion. A person who claimed to be in the know revealed on social media that many people died in the accident and some of the victims had their skulls crushed. In this regard, the official did not come forward to clarify. Since it's the official practice of the CCP to conceal the truth, we have no way of knowing what the actual cause of the accident was and the number of casualties. We can only analyze and estimate based on the available information. According to Chinese media reports, this pedestrian bridge under construction is one of the Green Ecological Belt construction projects on both sides of Jinghu Lake in Duyao. The Ecological Belt construction project has a total investment of about 1.124 billion yen. The project in Duyang City spans approximately 19 kilometers through the north and south regions of the city, creating a continuous waterfront greenway of about 5 meters in width on both sides of the Mianyuan River. As part of the Ecological Belt construction project, 7 pedestrian bridges are planned, connecting the north and south greenways via 4 river bridges. Originally intended for the benefit of the local population, the project became more of a government reputation-building endeavor. With the upcoming 2022 World Clean Energy Conference, scheduled for August 27th to 29th in Duyang City, Sichuan Province, intensive urban construction efforts are underway to prepare for the event. Despite scorching temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius, this has led to concerns about temporary recruitment of laborers without proper safety training to meet construction deadlines. Accountability lies with the design, construction, and supervision of the bridge. While the construction contractor should adhere to the design and the supervising party should oversee construction, neither questioned design flaws nor suggested changes. The construction company also failed to implement temporary reinforcement anti-slip measures or address the design issues during girder erection, deviating from standard construction procedures, such as prematurely removing the 2 central pillars before completing the bridge deck welding, potentially contributing to the accident. Chinese construction projects frequently involve multiple levels of subcontracting, leading to reduced pay as it trickles down the chain. Ultimately, this significantly impacts the construction quality. On-site safety management and supervision personnel often fall short in fulfilling their responsibilities, resulting in numerous safety accidents and a prevalence of subpar construction projects, often referred to as ofudreg projects. For example, on May 8th last year, a section of a bridge under construction on the Hongyun Canal in Xi'an County, Zhejiang Province, suddenly collapsed into the river, even crushing a truck in the process. On the night of March 1st, 2017, a section of an under-construction overpass collapsed in Longyan, Fujian Province, burying at least 2 or more vehicles. According to 2023 statistics from China Business Network, from 2011 to August 2012, at least 24 bridge collapse accidents occurred in China. From 2007 to 2012, at least 37 bridges in China collapsed. including 13 under construction, resulting in at least 182 deaths and 177 injuries, an average of 7.4 life-threatening bridge collapses per year. Many people think that Made in China stands for inferior quality, so let's dig deeper for the causes of too few construction. The disparity in bridge quality between ancient and modern times is striking. Consider the following examples. The Huihua Daily reported that the primary bridge of the Xi'an Bridge, a pivotal project for the Hawaii-Xiaohong Railway, was successfully completed 2 months ahead of schedule. However, just a week later, on the morning of January 6, 2017, the girder of the Hunan-Hawaii-Xiaohong Railway's railroad section in Lanji Township unexpectedly collapsed, injuring 2 workers. One worker suffered a dislocated hand, while the other sustained minor scrapes. According to incomplete statistics from Chinese media from 1999 to 2023, a total of 85 bridges collapsed in mainland China, resulting in unexpected fatalities and injuries. Shockingly, 6 of these bridges had been in operation for less than 15 years. Over the 5-year period from 2007 to 2012, China witnessed 37 bridge collapses, including 13 bridges under construction, leading to 182 fatalities and 177 injuries, an alarming average of 7.4 deadly bridge collapses per year. In contrast, ancient Chinese bridges are celebrated for their durability and longevity. One such example is the Zahuhu Bridge, often regarded as China's first bridge. Located above the Xi'an River in the south of Jiao County, Hubei Province, it was designed and constructed by Li Chun, a skilled stonemason during the Sui dynasty. Remarkably, it has remained in use for over 1,400 years despite enduring numerous challenges such as wars, the Cultural Revolution, earthquakes, and other natural disasters. Similarly, the Guanyin Bridge, situated in the Xi'an city of Zhejiang Province, was built during the Southern Song Dynasty and subsequently rebuilt during the Ming Dynasty. It stands as the longest existing 7-folded side stone arch bridge in Jiaoxing, with a history of more than 300 years. Question arises: why were structures like houses and bridges more robust and enduring in ancient times when technology and equipment were limited compared to the modern era? The answer lies in the strong belief in gods within ancient Chinese society, coupled with the exceptionally high moral values upheld by the people at that time. However, following the establishment of the Chinese Communist Party in 1949, successive campaigns compelled individuals to forsake their faith in gods and religion, which subsequently eroded the moral fabric of society. This is an under-construction viaduct, and it's evident that it's already experiencing structural issues even before completion. Within the realm of China's engineering and construction industry, there exists a rather peculiar phenomenon characterized by the frequent occurrence of what are commonly referred to as Ofu Dregs projects. Some of these projects experience structural failures during the construction phase, while others exhibit severe quality defects shortly after being put into operation, posing safety risks and, in some cases, leading to casualties. For instance, on the evening of May 8th, the official Weibo account of Xi'an City in Zhejiang Province issued a notice reporting that around 5:48 p.m. that evening, a partially collapsed occurred on the under-construction Hongyang Canal Bridge. This bridge is part of the Hangzhou-Taizhou Freeway and was originally slated for acceptance by the end of June. The total investment in the freeway amounts to a staggering $5.8 billion, and the construction contractor is the Jiangsu Transportation Engineering Group, a state-owned enterprise. Videos circulating on the internet depict the collapsed debris falling into the river, with a mobile crane also becoming buried. Fortunately, officials stated that the bridge collapse did not result in any casualties. One netizen even commented, "Thank you very much to the construction contractor. This truly is a conscientious project." The bridge collapsed before it was even completed and opened to traffic. Otherwise, who knows how many people might have suffered a disaster. Another example can be seen in a viaduct located at the Dalian North Station of the high-speed rail. In video footage, we can observe that the cement of the bridge pier has cracked, exhibiting localized failures. The pier contains only a few thin rebars, and the concrete's gravel can be easily broken off by hand. Public information reveals that this high-speed railway station was commissioned on December 1st, 2012, which is less than 9 years ago. Additionally, around 6 p.m. on October 10, 2019, the bridge deck of a Shanghai-bound viaduct on National Highway 312 in Wuxi City, Jiangsu Province, overturned and collapsed, resulting in 3 crushed vehicles, 3 deaths, and 2 injuries. The collapsed bridge, which was 82 meters long and 9.5 meters wide, began construction in May 2005 and had passed completion acceptance in November 2007. It collapsed less than 12 years after opening to the public. According to the official report, technical experts from the Wuxi Accident Investigation Team and an expert team from the Ministry of Transport found that the bridge deck remained intact, with no fractures or serious lateral cracks on the deck and pier tops. The design was in compliance with all relevant building codes. The preliminary analysis regarding the cause of the failure pointed to an overloaded truck as a potential factor leading to the bridge collapse. Why are there so many tofu dreg projects in China? Firstly, engineering design plays a pivotal role in construction projects. To cut costs, many project owners repeatedly modify the design, often called design optimization. Unfortunately, this can introduce hidden risks to project quality. Some engineering consulting firms specialize in helping owners optimize designs. Many professionals follow these so-called optimizations based on national codes. However, these codes don't always provide specific project details. The prevailing philosophy here is that as long as the code requirements are met, it's acceptable, even if it shortens the project's lifespan or leads to quality issues, as long as they don't get caught red-handed. Anything not explicitly in the codes tends to be ignored. In some cases, ideal conditions are prioritized over safety factors, leading to initial defects in engineering designs, which are the root cause of tofu drags projects. Secondly, the construction contractors are also major contributors to these issues. Typically, large-scale projects are overseen by the government or state-owned enterprises. Those in charge often seek personal gain, sometimes using their power to favor companies owned by relatives or friends. For instance, we discussed in this video that you're watching right now how Li Wei, Deputy Director of the Harbin Electric Power Bureau, awarded a construction contract for Harbin's power auxiliary project to a company owned by his brothers. This project exceeded 3.2 billion RMB and gave them a 77% monopoly on the local power supply. Some officials even directly seek benefits from construction bidding companies through intermediaries. Corruption is widespread, with officials accepting bribes from bidding companies. Even when projects seem to go through a bidding process, the winner is often predetermined, and other bidders are just for show. Contractors must often pay bribes to secure projects, and these costs are later factored into the construction expenses. Unfortunately, this can lead to subpar work and the use of inferior materials. Thirdly, the organization of construction is another significant issue. After bidding, projects are often divided among different levels of subcontractors, making it challenging for the actual construction companies to turn a profit. Migrant workers bear the brunt, as deductions from their wages are common. The system also leads to excessive construction speed. Some projects don't adhere to design or construction codes, as the timelines are often dictated by project leaders. For example, the 356-meter high Seg Plaza in Shenzhen was built at an astonishing pace, completing one floor every 2.7 days. This breakneck speed led to its completion 7 months ahead of schedule in October 1999, as a special tribute to China's 50th National Day. To ensure construction quality, it's common to hire supervising engineering companies. However, in China, these engineers often face pressure from project owners and are influenced by construction contractors. They're more concerned with personal gain than ensuring quality. Their opinions hold little weight, and construction contractors must heed the project owners, not the supervisors. Finally, the process of accepting completed projects typically favors the interests of the project owners and experts rather than ensuring quality. As a result, even if there are minor issues, projects are approved as long as there are no glaring faults or collapses.